This is Notes in the Margin, a podcast for people who are super excited about writing their non-fiction book, but perhaps, just perhaps, aren't quite doing it. If you always feel called to tile the bathroom or clean the toilet instead of writing your book, you are in the right place. Your host, Vicky Fraser, has been there, done that, and has literally written the book about it. Join Vicky and her husband Joe as they make notes in the margin about creativity, writing techniques, publishing, and general shenanigans, and get tips and tricks to help you write your book. Hello and welcome to Notes in the Margin. I'm your host, Vicky Fraser, and this week I am interviewing somebody who I have known for a very long time, Jon McCulloch, otherwise known as the Evil Bald Genius. Jon was my mentor for many years, one of my first mentors, and is a big part of the reason of why I'm doing what I now do, and why I am doing it successfully. So I thought I would get him on to talk about his new book, because he is just about to launch his new book. By the time this episode goes out, it might actually already be there. So yeah, we're going to be talking about why he wrote the book in the first place, and really importantly, what he is going to do with the book once it's out, and what he has done with his previous book as well, and how he has used it to grow his business and to bring high quality clients into his business and work with them. It's really, really great, because I know that a lot of people write their books and then they kind of get stuck. So without further ado, I hope you enjoy. Jon McCulloch, the Evil Bald Genius, welcome to Notes in the Margin. Thank you so much for joining me today.
It's entirely your pleasure.
Okay, so Jon, do you want to just introduce yourself a little bit first? Tell us a little bit about who you are. I've known you for a very long time, but let's hear it from you.
It's been hundreds of years, isn't it?
Hundreds.
I'm Jon McCulloch, otherwise known as the Evil Bald Genius, for obvious reasons. I'm evil for reasons that you'll have to ask me about over a pint. I'm bold because I've got no hair, and I'm a genius because that's what my IQ says. I'm basically a business mentor, ex-freelance copywriter, and I just mentor business owners from all across the board in hundreds of different industries, so they make more money with less work, less hassle, and fewer headaches, mostly by charging more money.
Yes.
It's dead easy. And I'm really grumpy, always.
You see, he says that, and he says he's evil, but I've known Jon for approximately 412 years, and he was one of my first mentors and is part of the reason that I am doing what I do today. And he's a really kind man, and he's not actually as grumpy as you would like you to believe. So, yes, you are. So, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm busting your persona here, but
yeah, you're ruining it. You're ruining everything.
I know. You knew I was going to do that. So yeah, I've known Jon for a very long time, and today I've brought him here to talk about his book, very specifically his new book, which is called The Well-Fed Business Owner, I believe. Looking at it, yeah, The Well-Fed Business Owner. And I want to ask you about that book, but I also want to ask you about how you're using the book, because I obviously teach people how to write books, and I want them to not just have a book that they're going to, just have a book. I want them to be able to use it in such a way that it's going to help them grow their business. So can you tell us a little bit about The Well-Fed Business Owner and why you wrote it?
Well, the book itself is just about finished now, but basically the premise is most business owners should have what we call a signature offer. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean it's the most expensive thing you do. It doesn't even mean it's the most common thing you sell, but it's the thing everyone will know you for. And if you imagine the cost benefit thing in providing it and selling it, it's the thing that gives you the biggest bang for the buck, and also gives your prospects and your clients the biggest bang for the buck. So for us, it's called control. For you, it might be something else. All right.
Microbooks.
Yeah, microbooks. So the book really is predicated on taking your business using what we call the business control model, which means basically you're selling to the right clients at the right prices, and you're selling predictably and reliably. And we have a model which actually we work through stepwise to get that to happen, because most business owners are just, how do we do business? Don't know. Go and check on the internet. Ask people for advice on problems they haven't even solved themselves, but they all have opinions. Mm-hmm. We all know about opinions, don't we?
Yes, we do.
The book is predicated on basically taking people from zero, because when most people want to improve their businesses, what they do is they will tend to do more of what they're already doing. And most coaches and mentors will teach them to do more of what they're already doing. Well, all that does is get you incremental and marginal improvements and increases. Mm-hmm. What I do is, because my work is predicated on, to get different results, you need to take different actions. To take different actions, you need different thinking driving it. So we take you right back to ground zero, if you like, to change the way you think about your business, so premium pricing, triage, and premier positioning, and build that into a new business right from scratch, all the way through to your signature offer. That's essentially what the book's about. And it'll work for virtually any business in any industry. There may be some out there where it won't work, but they would be outliers. And by definition, if you're reading it, the chances are you are not an outlier. We all like to think we are unique and special, but we're not. We're really not. We're all very average, really. Yeah. So that's what the book's predicated on.
Okay. And so why, I mean, and all of that stuff is brilliant, and people should go buy it and go read it, and we'll share a link about where they can get hold of it at the end of the podcast. But I'm particularly interested in why you wanted to write this book, because obviously you do what you do. You've been doing this for a long time now. You've got your systems, you've got your processes, you've got people coming in. You use the system that you've just told us about. So what made you want to write the book? What made you want to put it in pages?
Well, this isn't from me. I mean, I almost nothing is new in marketing.
Yeah.
I mean, anything I've probably taught you in the last 10 years, I've picked up from people like Dan Kennedy, Jay Abraham. So, none of it's mine. And they know they got it from Lord Hopkins and way back. The best clients anyone will ever get are essentially book readers.
Okay.
That's true across the board. The reason being, people who read books are definition literate. They tend to be more studious. They've sat down and read they've got a topic they want to learn about. So they've sat down and read a fucking book about it.
Yeah, well, interested enough in it to write.
Yeah, exactly. Well, they're not just interested enough to read it. They've often bought it, so they've paid money for it. Mm-hmm. And now that means they've gone at least gone to a website to buy it. Maybe they've gone down to the bookshop. They've got off their arse and gone into town. Maybe had to order this thing. I know, because my first book, this one, people have actually ordered this from bookshops, and I know this because my printer bill has told me so.
Yeah.
So they're invested emotionally and financially and energetically in your book. So that's the first thing. It's about them. About you, it gives you an opportunity to tell your entire story in any way you like, from beginning to end. 366 pages for that one. Probably a little bit long. But 360 pages of me talking to you. Yeah. Well, you don't get that with an internet website. You just don't.
And do you know what as well? And this is a slight tangent, but this is because I'm sure you've seen that Prince Harry has written his book, right? And I just thought that was really interesting. I'm going to talk about this on another podcast at some point. But what you've just said makes perfect sense. It's your opportunity to tell your story, because like Harry and Meghan have had the media spinning so much stuff about them, true or not, who knows? And that's the point. And it's like they've had no chance to tell their story because the media won't listen to them. So him writing his book is so understandable, especially when you put it in that context of being able to tell your story in your way.
Absolutely. And when someone's reading your book, even if they're on a Kindle, because Jeff Bezos actually said with the Kindle device, he wants the device to get out of the way. So you're just left reading your book. That's why a Kindle is so simple.
Yeah.
Because it's about reading. Well, with rare exceptions, say you're reading a Kindle title on your browser, not your browser, your the web reader, the app and things on your desktop, which some people probably will, but most don't. Even if someone's got a digital Kindle title, when they're reading your book, they're reading your book. They've not got tabs open. They've not got music playing in the background. They've not got things popping up. Oh, so-and-so just commented on your photograph about your mother-in-law's new hat. People's attention span, it's not getting shorter. That's a myth. That's not true at all. What's happening is we're damaging the way we interact with these things. Social media is destroying the way we approach thinking and talking and interacting and acting. The human body itself isn't changing, nor is the human brain. I mean, over time, evolution. But, it's not we've got a shorter attention span, particularly. It's just that we're dopamine addicted to context changes, context switching. Something new pops up, we switch context, it gives us a little buzz. We're getting a dopamine hit for no achievement, no effort. Very damaging. Doesn't happen with a book. There's something, Roald Dahl said, even bad books are books and are therefore sacred. There is something almost magical about a book. When we're having a clear out, so I never throw a book away. I reluctantly, prying out of my dead hand almost, goes to a charity shop so someone else can benefit from it.
Yeah, same.
I do not throw books away. The idea of burning a book because you don't like what's in it, I know, that's almost a crime against humanity, isn't it? In my local town, we have an old-fashioned style telephone kiosk. It's painted green because that's the colour of the post office over here. And in it, there are shelves. And it's like a free book exchange library thing.
Love that.
Yeah, so people go in and they put books in and they take books out. And the thing is, there's no key or anything. People just go in and no one defaces it. No one pisses in there and no one steals things because people respect the books. Like Walter White says, respect the chemistry. Well, respect the literacy. Well, people tend to. When you say you've written a book, people treat you differently.
They do.
People look at me and they don't believe it because they think I'm a yobbo.
I mean, you are, but also...
That's true. Absolutely. The two are not mutually exclusive.
Yeah.
So when you write a book, you position yourself with a certain authority. You get a chance to tell your entire story. And then if you write the book in a certain way, the way I didn't write this one, but the way I am writing well for a business owner, the next logical step, and this is really important to everyone here, and it'll feed into the next thing you want to talk about, how you're using it. Okay? The next logical step of anyone reading our book is one of two things. Either do what I tell you to do in the book. You will have to do some background research to learn some new skills, but there'll be enough in there for you to fix your business. Or, and this is why I've written the book, get in touch with me. We can have a conversation and maybe I can help you.
Yeah.
Drive business. The number of people who've come to me in my business, big spenders from my books, some of them just shitty little Kindle titles where I've taken an old newsletter, turned it into a Kindle title and just put it up there for like 99 pence.
Yeah.
That's why I'm writing the book.
Yeah, and it's totally true because my best clients tend to have read my books before as well. Not always, but like most of them tend to have read my book before, and they'll have done the thing. And it's true what you say as well. It's like a win-win because either people will read the book and do the things you've said and get results, which is awesome. And quite often they will come back and be like, I read your book and I did the things and it's worked and it's great. And it's like, awesome. And then most people were like, okay, I've read the book. That's brilliant. Now, how do I do it? And I always find that really funny because it's like, oh, I loved your book. I've read it. I've read it. And now how do I do it? And it's like, it's not that they don't know how, it's that they need that extra support. And that's the thing. And you've positioned yourself perfectly then to be that person who is going to...
There's always going to be someone out there who wants the next best thing in the line. I'm one of them. If I read a book and it tells me how to do something, I will always go to the website and probably 9 times out of 10 end up buying something else from them, which is probably the same material in the book, just presented differently as videos or something. And it's crazy. It makes no sense, but that's how we work. And I'm not unique in that. I mean, Dan Kennedy's a good example. I came to Dan Kennedy through a book. Then I read all his books. And, fast forward to 2017, I paid him, in 2016, I paid him $18,000 for a day's consulting. And then a few months later, and you were there, we held an event in Cleveland. Yeah. And I paid him another $18,000. So I've probably paid Dan Kennedy, and I've been to his events over the years, probably the best part of I don't know, probably $60,000, $70,000. Well, that's because I read his book. But it's paid me back many times over. I'm not just it's not a money sink.
No.
that's not atypical at all. No, not everyone would do that, but that is, and he's quite open about this. He's written a great book called Book the Business with a guy called Adam Whitty. What I suggest you do is you buy the book, people, and skip every other chapter because Adam Whitty isn't quite the same caliber as Dan Kennedy. He said very kindly and diplomatically. Anything by Dan Kennedy is worth reading. Anything at all. His fucking shopping list is probably worth reading.
Yeah.
Remember the story he told about how he got his stepkids to eat lettuce?
No, I don't remember that.
He locked the refrigerator.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we were all laughing about it. It was at the event. You were probably drunk.
I probably don't remember. I mean, I might have been drunk. I don't drink anymore, but yeah, back then.
No, I don't either. It's far too old for
that. Okay, so that's all of the reasons that people should write a book, and that is great. And it's like the next step is, like you said, the next step is like people are going to want that next step because reading a book is inherently, it's a passive activity, and what you want people to do to make a change is an active thing. So it's like they're going to want that active thing next. So can you talk to us a little bit about how you're using the book? Because I do know that this is going to be super valuable for people, because I know that most people, like most books don't sell more than 250 copies. And I think most people are shocked to realize that. That's like, it's new. And there's some amazing books out there that are selling like tiny amounts of copies, because we write the book, we think, oh, that's a massive thing I've done. And it is a massive thing that you've done. And if you've written a book, yay. But it's like, that's not the end of it. It's like, once the book is written, it's not going to sell itself, unfortunately. So how are you using the book? What are you doing with it once you've got it?
Well, pretty much everything, Vicky. I mean, the new book is hard to say because we've not done it yet. And I don't want to, I mean, I can tell people what we're going to do.
Yeah, tell us what you're going to do.
Let me tell people what we have done with the Well-Fed Freelancer.
Cool.
Because that was a digital book. And then I'll talk about what we're going to do. What we did with the Well-Fed Freelancer is we put it up as a PDF download. It's not available on Kindle. And what we do is we send people to it. We have a shitload of free bonuses on the front end with it. It's £5. Because here's the thing, we're not, and this again, everyone listen to this, you are not going to be the next Stephen King. Stephen King gets 50% of the world royalties on everything in literature go to Stephen King, and everyone else shares the rest. You are not going to be the next Stephen King. I will stake my life upon it. You're not writing the book to make money from selling the book. You might do, chances are you won't. So we're writing the book as a vehicle for business further down the line. So the important thing is for us to get that book into people's hands. If we can get paid for it, then let's get paid for it. If we can't, it doesn't matter. But what we've done with the Well-Fed Freelancer is we sell it for £5. We get, I think it was 10 bonuses on the front end, some of which have sold for hundreds of pounds in the past. So the offer is just phenomenal. It's ridiculous. It is perverse. And we give a double your money back plus a free pizza guarantee if you don't like it, for any reason or no reason at all, forever.
Your free pizza guarantee always cracks me up.
Yeah, well, the thing is, we've never been called on it. It is a no-brainer. It would be perverse to say no to that. Mm. And in testament to the power of the offer, the conversion rate on the sales page is about 43%, which is unheard of.
That's really
cool.
It isn't
because I'm an epic copywriter, not just because I'm an epic copywriter. It's unheard of. Anyway, so we sell the book, and then on the back end of the book, you also get what we call a bump offer, which is just templates to help you implement what I talk about in the book. Yeah, the book is not written in isolation. The book is written with the signature offer in mind, right? So there's templates you can download. It's like 45 quid, 50 quid. So if someone clicks yes for that £5 book is now a £55 purchase. Then you get an upsell, which is some more templates for even more detailed stuff. Well, I think that's another 50 quid. If you buy everything, your £5 book purchase turns into a £155 book purchase. Now, the statistics on that are 16% of the people who buy the £5 book also buy the £50 bump, and 3% of the people who buy the book buy the £150. When you crunch those numbers, what we have is we have a £5 book with an average sale price of £13.
Nice.
What that means is we can afford to spend 13 quid to get a £5 book in someone's hands and build a list of buyers, not prospects, buyers.
Yeah.
As it is, we're actually being paid about £3 because it costs us about a tenner. We're being paid about £3 to get a £5 book in someone's hands. All right, even though we're spending £13 to do it on average, £10 on average to do it. That is huge. If you understand what that means, you'll never be poor again. Anyone.
Yeah. That is really cool. I have a question about that. How long did it take you to get to that point, to the point where it was kind of paying for itself? Because I know that that's something people will be wondering. So
the moment we launched it.
Really?
We launched it to our in-house list, LinkedIn. Well, the thing is, the offer is so bizarrely, ridiculously easy to say yes to.
Yeah. So are you running ads to this? Is this ads, or are you
doing and we're not at the moment because we basically scaled back on the Well-Fed Freelance because we want to launch the Well-Fed Business Owner. And the way we can promote that is in a similar way, only it won't be digital. So the ability to sell and upsell will still be there and we'll still use it. But we're more likely to be giving it away for free. And how are we going to do that? Because look, this 10 years ago this summer cost me £3.85 per copy. Well, I remember 20 years ago when I was in BNI, yes, I was, believe it or not, 20 years ago in BNI, there were people who were paying £5 for a single glossy, expensive, professionally produced business card, and I've got a book for much less.
Yeah.
So my message there is use your book as your business card. Give them away like sweeties.
Yeah.
And most people will balk at the idea of like, what, £3, £4 every time I give one away. Yeah, but you get one client from it with the premium rates you'll be able to charge because I wrote the book on this topic. It's nothing. And as Dan Kennedy says, the person who's the person who's willing and able to spend the most to get a client always wins. That's how we can afford to spend £13 to get a £5 book in someone's hand. Most people will be thinking, it's costing me £6 to sell a £5 book. I can't do that. I'll go bankrupt. Well, that's because you don't know what you're doing. So that's what we're going to do with the paper version. We are going to do that model as well. It's a bit more problematic, but we'll still do it. But really what we're going to do is we're going to send a lot of cold email. Cold email is a thing and it works. Cold LinkedIn messaging, offer people the free copy of the book. Now, send a cold email, literally fucking hundreds and thousands of these damn things. We know our numbers, for instance. We know we need to send about 100 emails to get one reply.
Right.
We need 10 replies to get one phone appointment. And we need 4 phone appointments to get one £10,000 sale. So for every 4,000 cold emails we send, we get about a £10,000 sale.
Okay.
That's how it works. So what we're going to do is we're going to send an email offering a free book. If they reply and say, yes, send me the free book, we'll send them the free book through the post, but we're now getting somebody's snail mail address so we can direct mail them. That's very powerful.
Yeah.
If they don't reply to our email, and this is the Dream 100 type stuff, we call it M82, after the Barrett M82 sniper's rifle. If they don't reply, we're going to print out the email, put it in a letter with a copy of the book, and mail it to them anyway and say, you don't get away that easily. We told you we'd send you a free copy of the book. Read this book, and then if you still think we can help you, give us a call. For the top kind of people we're going to aim for our top end offering, which is like 50k plus, we might include a phone, a prepaid mobile phone from Tesco for £20. So all in all, we'll probably send in a £25 package to these people. Shock horror, people won't pay that. Oh, all that money. But if you're selling a 50k product, you don't need that many sales to buy as many fucking phones and books as you can ever eat.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what we're going to do.
That's really cool. I know people have sent like Kindles, like preloaded Kindles and preloaded iPads as well, which can work really well if you're selling a high enough ticket thing. And
absolutely, you've got to know your numbers. Now, something else we're going to do is when the book's published, and it should only be a couple of weeks now, we are going to go very heavy on the public relations, get me on the TV again, because we've got Autism Awareness Month coming up, which is always a good month for me, autistic bloke, business owner, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
That's a great time to get into the press on the TV with the book. We're going to hit it really hard, as the actress said to the bishop.
So what would, assuming that our listener, my single listener, I have one listener, assuming that my listeners have like written their book, what would you, so they've got all of this information, what would you suggest is the first thing that they do? Like if you could give them one thing to start with, because it's all going to feel a bit overwhelming if you've never done something like this before, what's the first thing that they should do?
Get it into people's hands.
In whatever way they can.
Necessary. And I mean that. I mean, one of my clients is a weight loss guy, and he's the guy who got me my first six-pack at 52. I've still got it. I'm 58 now. Well, he lives just down the road from a gated community in Essex, where the houses start at 3 mil. And I said to him, you need to get your book, because he's written one, of course, he's a client of mine, written his book, put it in an envelope with a letter in it, and the letter out on the envelope, address it to the man of the house. Because he works with blokes. Yeah, very old-fashioned and stuff, but it'll work.
If he works with blokes, then yeah.
And literally post it through people's doors. It's that simple. So I don't care whether you could be a local small-town copywriter, graphic designer, website. I don't care who you are, what you are. If you provide any kind of service to businesses in particular, you have businesses near you. Unless you live in a field like me. But I've got a local town. You can just drop it into people's businesses. If you've got no money, you've got no time, or you do have, if you've got no money because you've got no work, you do have time and you've got shoes. So you burn your shoe leather.
Yeah.
And you get the book into people. It's that simple because the book's marketing you. If you're writing the book and not just having a navel gazing, you're not treating it like social media. It's all about authenticity and how vulnerable you're being today. It's a book that people can solve their problems with if they follow the directions in it. That's the kind of criteria we use.
Yeah.
Then getting that book into people's hands means the book's marketing you. Your job is then so simple to market your business. You never have to worry about content again. You never have to worry about what do I write today. It's how do I get this book into someone's hands? That's the only question you need to answer. So the first thing they should do is literally get it into people's hands. So give it away, sell it, put a web page up, put it on Amazon. And if you don't want to work with a multi-million-dollar corporation, then why have you got a fucking smartphone? Please grow up. You know, there's give it away on LinkedIn, give it away on your page, message all your contacts. Use a LinkedIn because LinkedIn is a good platform for these kind of things. Use a LinkedIn event. My book is being published today. Message me if you want a free copy. Do all these things. Don't get it into people's hands. It's that simple.
Yeah, simple, but not necessarily easy if you're not inclined to do it. So listen to what Jon has said and do the thing. It's like, and you don't have to do them like all at once. It's like, if that's overwhelming, pick one thing that you feel like you can do and start with that. It's like, you know, I like the idea of, because I know what people are like, because I am people. It's like the idea of talking to people is like, do exactly what Jon has said. Pick your social media platform of choice and just say, I am launching my new book. Who wants a free copy? Because people love free shit. So it's like people.
If you go networking, as a lot of people do, take 20 copies of your book and hand them out.
Yeah, I've done that. It's well, the networking was painful, but the handing the book out was cool. So and
here when it's published in Ireland, this is the thing. By the way, you'd love it. You would. It's the thing in Ireland that you go around a corner in the middle of nowhere, and all of a sudden you come across a great big hardware store, like a home base. And generally speaking, it's split into two parts. One is it serves the local handyman and handy person community, local tradespeople, and the other half caters for the local farming community. So you're wandering around, and on the one hand you've got like washing machines and hair dryers and stuff, and planks of wood and nails, and the other you've got cow milking machines. Yay! And it's in the middle of nowhere. Well, I'm going to go to the local one and just put a box of books on the counter if they'll let me, and just say, just give them away. Sell them if you want. You can keep all the money. I don't care.
Yeah.
Give them away to local tradespeople. And it only takes one guy to come along and come to core control, and that would pay for a lot of books for a long time. Go into my local town and do the same thing. Now, obviously, you want to be more perhaps discerning in who your target market is. So that just, you know, if you're selling graphic design or interior design stuff, don't drop it into a hairdresser's necessarily, and they're struggling for money. But, you know, this is just basic business. Get it into the hands of the people who are going to read it, your target market. And if you don't know your target market is, their pain, all that kind of thing, you probably don't want to be writing the book yet anyway. That's all the groundwork you need to do. Writing the book to appeal to a certain kind of person, unless you're doing it for ego purposes, which ain't the best reason for doing it.
No, I mean, you know, you can if you want, but like you say, it's not going to do you much good. So yeah, if you're kind of thinking, you know, let's wind it all the way back. If you're kind of thinking, oh, not really sure who I'm going to be writing to, then yeah, that's absolutely the first step. Is like, who do you think you want to work with, and really dig deep into that. Okay, cool. Thank you so much for that. That was really useful information. Everybody, I really want you to like rewind that and listen to it
over and over again.
Over and over again. Make notes. Do the thing. Pick one thing. Do it. Pick another. See how that works. Pick another thing. Do it. And if it doesn't work, okay. Here's the thing. If something doesn't work for you, please don't give up. Tell them, Jon. Tell them to try something else and iterate. And you know.
Well, your book marketing. Now, I'm assuming you've written the book in the right way, or it's next. Excuse me. Your book is good enough. If you're writing your book with Vicky's direction, you've written your book using her direction, so it's fit for purpose. So assuming your book is fit for purpose, which it probably is, even if it's not, it's better than no book at all. Mm-hmm. Assuming your book is fit for purpose, keep plugging away at it, because here's what I've discovered over the years. Most people will try something to see if it works. Well, really, we should be trying something until it works.
Yes.
Yeah, because I know why this has happened. I don't want to go into it now. But in general, business owners and indeed marketers themselves, especially when they're new to the game, copywriters and such, they have unrealistic expectations of how their market is going to perform. Mm-hmm. They seem to have this idea that they can put, say, some ads on Facebook, LinkedIn, or whatever, and they're going to get a massive response straight away. They're going to post on the organic and say, hey, really pleased to announce my new website. It's open for business. Come on in. I'm ready to accept copywriting clients. They think they get flooded, flatline. So they get disappointed disappointed and give up or whine about it. Building a business is hard. And don't forget, people, you tend to hear success stories only from the people who are successful.
Yes.
And there are far fewer of us than there are of people who failed. The people who have failed are pissing and moaning and whining, gnashing their teeth about it.
Yeah. Or they've just gone on and done something else entirely. You just don't ever hear from them.
Yeah, they've gone back to being teachers or whatever. And remember, I've been doing this for 20 years, and the first few years were brutal. Success tends to take time. Not always. It doesn't have to take as long as most people would probably think it does, because there are a set number of steps involved. And as long as you carry out those steps, you'll probably be successful. Now, whether it takes 6 months or 6 years is immaterial. But most people expect to do one thing and get immediate results from it. Even Dan Kennedy himself will tell you, probably 7 out of 8 of his marketing campaigns die without a whimper.
Yeah.
But the one that succeeds is enough to pay for all the failures and then some. Well, that's about my observation too.
Yeah, and that's the thing, it's that persistence and also an understanding of how people work. Because there are a few people who will buy like that, they'll buy straight away. But I get clients who will buy my stuff and I don't know who they are or where they've come from, and they'll be like, oh, I mean, I can find out, but when I first see their names, I'm like, I don't know who this person is, and I will have a chat with them and they'll be like, oh yeah, I've been on your email list for 5 years, and I'm like, it's taken them that long. Yeah. And that's not gonna be the same for everybody, but that's just to say that it's that relationship building thing. This is where books can help to kind of cut that down. It's you can cut that time down, but don't underestimate how long some people take to want to work with you. And there's not a lot you can do to speed those people up. You can do other things to speed other people up, but that's just how people gonna people, right?
People will buy when they're ready to buy, not when you're ready to sell. And that's why we need to be marketing all the time. A good example is this very book. Okay, do you remember my 2017 attitude adjustment event? Were you there? Yes. You were there, weren't you?
I was.
Well, one of the guys who joined me there, so it cost them over £2,000 to join me. The first and only thing he bought was this in 2013. So for another 4 or 5 years, he just sat there quietly watching, and then decided to join me, reading my daily emails.
Yeah.
And if I hadn't been emailing daily, I'd have never sold a place on the program. But he read the book, loved the book, and that it was just that one course came up, that one event came up at the right time. He was in the right frame of mind, and he paid $2,000 to be there.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing to remember is you don't know what people are doing in the background or thinking about in the background. They will come when they come, and you just got to keep doing your thing and keep iterating, changing, and don't fucking give up. People give up, and I get it. I understand why, but just don't give up.
Well, why would you give up? Because what are you going to do then? Go back to what you hated before? And you stop what you're doing before because you didn't like it. So why would you go back to it? In fact, here's a good point, actually. Perhaps if you wanted to finish now, this is a good point to finish on. A lot of people say to me when they're struggling, should I lower my prices, take on shittier work, just to get some work in? And my answer is always no. I tell people, go and get a job at Asda or Tesco, stacking shelves, and serve high-quality clients in your spare time. Because all you're doing by dropping your prices in the work you love is devaluing yourself. And if you think that you can drop your prices and make it up in volume, and at some magical point you're going to get back to this position where you can charge more, you are mistaken, because you will always be running. When you're a kid, you'd run down a hill. You think, this is great, this is. Until you get to this point, you think, shit, I can't stop.
Yeah.
I've got to keep running, otherwise I'm going to face plant. Have you done that?
I do that every week, every day when I'm at my run. I've got a really steep hill. I run down it really fast, and every day I'm like, ah!
It's exactly like that with the business, though. You get to this point where you can't stop to take a breather, to turn clients away because you're too busy.
Yeah, it's fast road to burnout. I've been there. It sucks. So. That's awesome. Thank you so much. It's been really, really useful. I know that people are going to find it really helpful because they're going to have their books and they're going to be like, right, what now? This is what now? This is what we do now. So thank you. I always like to end my interviews with a series of random rapid fire questions. So if you're up for that, Jon, what are you reading right now?
Right now? Some crap science fiction series by a guy called J.N. Chaney.
Okay, cool. Good, worth it?
Yeah, it's something to read before going to sleep and getting up at 5:30 for a cycle. Yeah.
Cool.
It's not demanding. In business terms, I'm reading Deep Work by Cal Newport.
Oh, yeah, I read that a couple of years ago. It's interesting. Good. Yeah. And what is a favourite book of yours? I'm not going to say your favourite because that for me depends on what mood I'm in and all sorts of stuff. But what is a favourite book of yours?
Oh, that's easy. That one is. Well, there's obviously The Lord of the Rings, one of my favourites, but probably one of my very, very favourites is the tie between Excession by the late Ian M. Banks and a book called The Probability Brooch, which almost nobody would have heard of, by a guy called L. Neil Smith. It's a libertarian work. It's fucking brilliant.
Okay, cool. Thank you for that. And a favourite film, if you watch films?
Ooh, V for Vendetta and Equilibrium. Those two tie for first place.
Haven't seen V for Vendetta for years. Might have to dig that out again. What's the last thing you binge watched, if indeed you do binge watch things?
We don't tend to binge watch, but the last thing we watched on Netflix, I would have binge watched if I could, was Better Call Saul. Fucking brilliant.
Haven't seen that. Have not.
Oh,
we watched
it's equally as good as Breaking Bad.
Okay.
Really good.
You know, something that you might enjoy is How to Get Away with Murder.
Ooh, definitely.
It's a series of it's very good. You'll watch and you'll be like, why are these people making these decisions? But it's also like it's just a really interesting kind of like view into how decisions can escalate, and it's like it's like the running down the hill thing. It's like can't stop now. It's very good.
Seemed like a good idea at the time.
Yeah. Okay, what's your favourite place?
Bed,
nice. And what are you most proud of?
my children.
Oh,
How fucking amazing they are. I guess the one I'm proud of them all for different things, but the one who's probably made the biggest difference for herself is my daughter Rosie. She went from being a suicidal teenager in a secure unit, released into my care against all the odds. I beat them at their own game. Released into a separate legal jurisdiction, which is unheard of. But I won. I got her in my care. She's now trained to be a doctor.
that's awesome.
So yeah, I'm proud of that.
Oh.
I mean, she did all the work really, but I made it happen. I gave her the environment to happen.
You gave her the space to do it. Yeah, that's awesome.
Very proud of that.
Well done you, and well done her. Well done Rosie. Give her my best. 'Cause that's awesome.
You probably met Rosie at the Big 5-0.
Yeah. Did. I wouldn't recognise her now because she'd be tiny. She'd be tiny then. Okay, what's on your bedside table?
A clock, my nasal spray for my sinuses, and in the evenings when I'm in bed, I've obviously got a drink. Orange squash and lemonade usually.
Orange squash and lemonade, you total animal. Okay.
Sue me.
And finally, where can we find out more about you and get our mitts on this new book of yours?
That's a good question. The book isn't ready yet. So the best place to go is probably wellfedbusiness.com/book.
Cool.
I think you'll be able to order a pre-pub copy there.
Brill. We'll stick that link in the show notes for...
Alternatively, email me, ebg@evilboldgenius.com, and I'll add you to my list and you'll be apprised of that way.
Brill. I will stick those links in the show notes. So if you're listening and you want to find out more about Jon, get your hands on his book, get his daily emails, hop onto one of those links and he'll sort that out for you. Jon, thank you so much for joining me today. This has been
pleasure anytime, Vic.
It was lovely to chat. So thanks so much. Have a great day. Thank you so much to Jon for a great interview. It's a delight chatting to you as usual. Yeah, honestly, if you're like, okay, I've written my book, now what do I do? You have your first steps there. That is what you can do with your book. If you have written a book in order to build your business, and we have lots of different reasons for building books, but this episode is about, if you've written a book that you specifically want to help build your business, Jon has given you all of the steps that you need to get started. And yeah, there's different tactics you can use and there's different ways you can do it, but the way he has put his book funnel together is really, really effective. It's brought in some amazing clients for him, and I know that his new book will do the same. So just pick a thing, start there, do one thing at a time, build your book funnel, basically just get your book into people's hands as quickly and as flagrantly as possible. And if you would like to know more about Jon, then I have popped the link in the show notes, so just check that out, and you can also drop him an email by clicking on his email there as well. And again, if you haven't written a book yet and you're like, oh, this sounds great, this idea of kind of writing a book and using it to grow my business, if you haven't done that yet and you would like to, then I am always, I'm always I've always got various products and services to help people to write their book. You can also buy my book at moxiebooks.co.uk/buy the book. That's a good place to start. And if you want to actually work with me to write a book, then I run Micro Book Magic every couple of months, every 2 or 3 months. Not sure when I'll be running the next round yet. I'm currently running the March season 3. But you can get, if you want to go on a waiting list, drop me an email, vicky@moxiebooks.co.uk. We'll get you on that waiting list and you can work with me to write your book. Or if you want to work with me in another capacity, drop me an email. We'll sort something out. Thank you so much again to Jon. Thank you to Podfly for making this sound good and amazing. Thank you to Carolyn for getting it out there for me. And thank you to you, dear listener, for being here. Once again, if you enjoyed this podcast, please rate and review it and share it with somebody who you think might find it useful. That would be amazing. Otherwise, I will be back next week. Take care. Thanks so much for listening. Check out the show notes at moxiebooks.co.uk/podcast for links to everything we've mentioned in this episode. Remember to subscribe to this podcast wherever you get your podcasts from. And if you'd like to hear more from Notes in the Margin, you can sign up to get regular emails from Vicky into your inbox at moxiebooks.co.uk/notes in the margin. We'll be back same time next week.